What is up, guys? Wraith here, Grey Bearded Gaming Society, and we have a small problem on our hands. So as you can see, our little buddy Stink is butt naked, and when I log back in, he'll be standing at his spawn point. The problem was the game client crashed on me as I was standing inside Guck, so either something spawned on me and beat me to death before I was able to get back in game, or potentially caught a train, or whatever. So I'm actually going to have to pull the masses on this one because there is nothing set in my little rule guide about how to handle a death from being disconnected. And to be honest, it's been the first time I've ever had the client crash on me like that, so I'm not entirely sure what happened. But we are going to go gather up our little corpse, assuming that we can get back to it now that all my spawns are no longer broken at the front door of Guck. We'll see how it goes. We'll check back in with you guys here in a few minutes. Alright guys, so we had a little sound disconnect. By disconnect, I mean I thought I had the microphone on and apparently I did not. So the whole time I was filming this portion, I did just talking basically to myself. So we're going to just do a quick sound overlay. We got back in the zone. We got to our corpse, trained it to the zone line, as you can see. So right at the zone line, we still end up having the zone back out, let the train get handled by bigger people. We came back in and we managed to get kind of all of our, well, I say kind of, we got all of our gear back like you do, but everything back on. You know, at this level, there's no way you're going to try to worry about trying to get a res or anything weird like that because we're just so small. But what we had been doing is working through these first couple of corridors. The happy spot that we were actually at is in this third corridor right here, which you can see, you know, to my dismay, when I got back, somebody had slaughtered all of it. But we'd just been kind of going back and forth in that area. There was really not a whole lot of competition because most of the big kids would go right through, but we'd have one spawn in there. We'd leave the tad up and get like one sentry and or guard spawn. Then we'd come in here and you'd have two sentries on that side. And then there was one sentry roamer, and where that little tiny froglock guy is over there could be the froglock tad or a froglock novice. It depends like how comfortable you are with the spot as to whether or not I was actually pulling them. And of course, whoever killed these, we found out that they did not loot them, and we are not above taking free loot, so we grabbed those guys. But that had been kind of where we'd been kind of camping out. It's mostly, like I said, in this entrance area. So there's one roamer that comes from around the corner, the one little dude in here, and then the one guy up here on the right if you're coming up the ramp. The left when you first get in the zone, because the other guy seems to always be pretty small. We had to be kind of careful because as you can see right where the little kind of corpse is right there in the middle, we'd actually been trained through that area a time or two by somebody. I guess they were trying to either get to the scryer or get through the scryer, and they ended up right around, I think, where the witch doctor is, and you know, we'd have to run for the zone. And they were also being very careful to try to pull from that spot right around the corner because there's a sentry and he roams, like he's in the little pile right there now. There's a sentry that roams in there, but you have to be really careful or we'd end up with a guard from all the way across the little pond area. And as I'm trying to sneak in, what I was talking about here is how bright red most of the guys on the other side of those bridges are. So we needed to stay firmly where we are at. And of course, here we go right now. And we managed to get the sentry, but the range on the sentry is a little bit high. So we kind of trained this guy to zone, knowing that we probably can't handle, well, probably ain't the word, we can't handle the guard and the sentry because that guard is bright red to us. So we bailed out. But mostly, like I said, once we got outside, you know, we kind of discussed what the plans were. We helped some newbies while we were out there throwing some heals and throwing some buffs because the little guy was having some trouble, which you'll see here in just a second. And it's much easier for us to help people than some of these melee guys who just kill the mob. But mostly what we were talking about is our little plan is we were going to finish getting level 9. We were going to pad up our level. It was all about getting to the fast feetz so we could take off running on our next little adventure, which of course was going to be to try to trade in some of our coins over there at East Commons for maybe a couple of little upgrades. But, like I said, we hang out here, we help this guy out, and we get rebuffed, and we press forward, just trying to do our own little grind. So hopefully I've got most of the overlay done. I think it sounded better the first time than it does this time around. But we sat here, we buffed this guy, we helped this guy, meted back up, and went about our merry way. Alright guys, we've gotten the level, we've padded the level, we got the spells, we memmed the spells, We officially have the fast feetz. We are now turbo trolling. I dig it. I dig it. So we are going to head off on our miniature little adventure here. I say miniature. The first zone could actually potentially really suck. But we're going to head to the tunnel. I did go to town. Picked up my cash. I already went, like I said, I already went to the stone hand as well. I got my little poison spell and things like that. So we're in really good shape there. We are going to make our way to the tunnel. We're going to spend a little bit of our windfall cash and see if we can't pick up some rather thrifty upgrades. We're going to see what we can do and just kind of hope for the best. At bare minimum, you know, try to get some easy cheesy upgrades, like maybe some split paw gloves or some wisdom rings, things along those lines, just to give us more mana pool as we go. But here we go, guys. It's adventure time with Stink the Troll. Well, we have safely made it. Thankfully, a very uneventful trip. We had one zombie tail while we were still in South Row, but made it through most everything else in pretty good shape. So we're going to spend a little bit of time here in the tunnel. Nothing crazy. Like I said, I'm going to see what I can see about picking up, you know, some really on the cheapy upgrades for us, just to fill in some of these spots. Maybe get a couple of wisdom items and some things like that. But I think that'll be a pretty good spot to call it for this adventure. Don't forget, guys, I need you guys to chime in about what we talked about earlier, because I've never had a death during the challenge caused by the server going down, or, you know, I'm trying to figure out like whether whatever it was that crashed kicked me out of the game. So, do I lose the life? Do I keep the life? What's the vote on there? A little community feedback will help us a long way. But we're going to call it a night. For now, I'm going to sit here and surf for a little while and see if we can get some upgrades. And we will catch back up next time and show you what I got. As always, guys, if you like what we're doing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. If you're running the challenge yourself, tell us all about it. Keep safe, keep distant. We'll see you guys next time.